Yeah, welcome back to my class again today. In the last class on static method, I told you I was going to give you a practical example of static method using uh, the cybersecurity rate that the government, the central bank is charging, right? So in this class, I'm going to just do that. You know, the central bank has said that for a transfer that you make bank to bank, you are going to be charged 0.5% of that amount, which is actually 0.005, right? So let's write a Python program that will do that calculation, and then you will see how much will be charged on every amount that you are transferring. That is what I want to show you in this class. Okay, using static method, right? Still on static method. So static method. So you are going to see practical application of this static method. Now, because of the board, so I will probably have to write the thing and then show you the abbreviation. I will clean it up. So I will say cyber, right, underscore security, cyber security, uh, cyber security fee rate, right? Okay, so this, I will represent it with CSFR. So write this down, right? Write this down because I'm going to wipe this off. This is very long. It will not be able to contain in my script. So CF, so this one will be CSFR, right? Okay. Then I will say uh, cybersecurity fee. Then this one would be CSF, right? Okay. Okay, so this, I'll write it here, cyber uh, security fee. This is for this, right? Okay, so now you see that. Just have this, right? So we are going to write our program here, but when you see CSFR, just know that it's cyber security fee rate. So now I'm going to write my program. So I'll write my class. I'll say class, and I will say uh, central bank. So that's my class central bank, right? Now, inside this central bank, I'm going to declare the class variable, which will be what? Cyber security free rate. So I will just type it. Okay, let me write it in full. Cyber security fee rate. This one will be 0.005. So this one now, I'm going to replace it as CSFR, right? Cyber security free rate. So I won't be writing it in full again. You won't do that in normal program, but for the sake of this lecture and the board, that is why I'm going to abbreviate it. So when you see this, just know that it is this. All right. So we've created a class, which is what? Class central bank. And then we have created cybersecurity fee rate, which is the class variable. And we have assigned this 0.005, which is actually, this one is 0.5%, right? Okay. Now I'm going to create a static method that will do the calculation. So I will write, right? Uh, Let me bring it very close so that the board will contain, right? So static, so I'll use the static method decorator so that my interpreter will know immediately that the next thing I'm going to define now is a static method. So I will say def, then calculate underscore cyber security fee. Now, this is a class method. This is a static method. This static method is not going to reference an object. Neither is it going to reference the class. So it's going to function as a normal function, right? Now, a normal function, you can supply a parameter to it. So in this case, now you are going to supply a parameter to this. In the last class, there was nothing supplied to it, right? So in this one, I'm going to supply amount. So I'm going to supply amount to it. That is what I'm supplying to this, my calculate cybersecurity fee. Now, cybersecurity fee rate is a class variable, and then I'm creating a static method inside the class. The def calculate cybersecurity fee amount. Now, I'm just going to say return, right? I'm going to say return amount multiplied by the calculation that I'm going to do. I could have created a variable and then do this calculation and put inside the variable and then say return that variable. But I want to return the calculation directly. So return amount multiplied by central bank. I want to do this amount multiplied by cybersecurity free rate. Now, to access this cybersecurity free rate, I have to enter into this class, central bank. So I'm simply just going to say CB or CBN. Let me just say CB, right? This central bank will refer to it as CB, right? So I will say CB, right? Dot cybersecurity free rate, which is what? CSFR. CSFR. You won't do this in the normal program. When I'm writing it in PyCharm, I'll write everything in full for you to see. Just for the sake of the board, that's why I'm doing this. So now I'm going to return amount, which is this amount, multiply by what? This cybersecurity free rate. That is what calculates cybersecurity fee. That method, that's what it's going to do. So it's going to return this. So whatever amount that I put here, say 20,000. 20,000 multiplied by 0.005. That is the cybersecurity free fee, right? So that's what I'm going to return. Now I have created my class. I have created a variable, and then I've created a static method. And what is this method going to perform? It's just going to perform this action, which is what? Calculate this amount that I'm going to supply here, multiply by this, then it will return it to whoever is going to call it. That is what will happen. Okay. So the next thing that I will do now is, let me wipe this off. Now, this is one class that I've created, right? This is one class that I've created. Now, I am going to create another class, which is what? Interbank transfer. So I will create another class here. I will call it class. Then I'll call it interbank. Now, this class interbank transfer, I'm now going to create an init method, which is the instance method inside it. So I will say define init. Then here I will say self, comma, amount, right? Then I will come here and I will say self dot amount assign amount. Now, what I've done here is I've created another class, which is what? Interbank transfer. Inside this interbank transfer, I have defined my init method, which is the instance method that will take an object for this self and then take an amount here. Then it will come in and give that amount to what? To this self attribute, which is the object attribute. So it will be stored here. Now, once that is done, I want to now create a method, which is an instance method that I will call to carry out certain activity for me. So I will create an instance method here. Then I will say, still inside this class, def. I will call it, this one is cybersecurity process. I'll call it process transfer, right? And then I will supply self to it. So this is another method that I'm creating inside this interbank transfer class. Now, what do I want this process method, process transfer to do for me? So this process transfer, I'm going to create activities, which is what? Cybersecurity fee. So inside it, I will say cyber security fee, right? Cyber security fee then is a variable that I've created. To calculate this cyber security fee, I am going to come here to this central bank. I'm going to call this my static method, which is what? Calculate cyber security fee. Now, if I'm going to access this, I must come into this class before I can access this. So this cyber security fee will be what? Central bank. So, and we actually did this, which is what? We abbreviated this central bank. So I'm going to use the same method. I'll just simply say CB dot, that is central bank, which is this central bank class, dot what? Calculate cyber security fee. So I'm calling this method. I'm going to call this method. So I'll call it, and so let's just call it CCF, cyber security fee. So CCF, right? And then inside it, I'm going to supply self dot amount, because this amount, which is expecting as a parameter, is going to be given to it inside this class through what? Through this self dot amount, which is this one. So the amount value will be saved in this place, which is the attribute of this object. So self dot amount, that value is what I'm going to supply here. So I am calling this method inside this cyber security, inside this process transfer method. I am creating a variable, and then I'm calling this calculate cyber security fee. I'm calling this method, and to access this method, I must access the class. That's why the class is central bank. The reason why I'm abbreviating it is because of the space. Please understand. So this CB stands for what? Central bank. Dot, using the dot notation to access the what? Calculate cyber security fee, which is the static method. So cyber security fee is the static method, and then it's expecting one variable, which is what? Amount. So this amount is what I have actually given inside this place. So the amount that I'm going to supply will be assigned to self dot amount, which is the attribute of this object, and that is what is given here. So this will be given, meaning I am calling this. Now, whatever the amount is, say 20,000, will come in here, and then to return amount times this rate. Whatever the value is, it will now store it inside this variable, which is what? Cyber security fee. It will store it here. So I have calculated the cyber security fee. So the amount that is going to be transferred will now be what? Amount that I gave, the 20,000, minus whatever the value that is inside this place. So if I'm giving 20,000, then the system is going to calculate 0.005 multiplied by 20,000. That value is going to be stored here. Now, the total amount that will be transferred will be what? That 20,000 minus what is stored here. So because of the space constraint, I will do this. I will come here and I will say total amount equals to self dot amount minus cybersecurity fee, whatever value is stored here, CSF, CSF, right? That will be the total amount. Total amount equals assign self dot amount, which is the amount that is supplied, minus CSF will be stored inside this total amount. So what I'm going to do now is still inside this method. I have done this, but there are other things I'm going to put under this method. So I, you have this already. So please take note of this. You can always come back to it. Now I'm going to wipe off this so that I can write properly for you to see. So I'm going to bring this. I'm just going to bring this place. I'm just going to bring it up, then write down. That's what I will do. I think that will be better. So let me just do that. So from here, right? So I'm going to write total amount, right? Equals to what? Self dot amount minus cyber security fee. Cyber security fee, right? Which is this, the value. That is what is here. Now, still under this method, I'm now going to say print, right? Um, Interbank transfer successful, right? Interbank transfer successful. That is one. So yeah, I will say print. I'll bring in my format string. Then I will say transfer amount, right? I will do this. Then I will say self dot amount. Then I will close this. So this one will show us the amount that is to be transferred. Then here I will say print cyber security fee. I said print cyber security because I want to know what is here. Cyber security fee, right? Then this one will give me this again. So I'll bring this in. Cyber underscore security fee, right? I'll do this, then I'll close this. Then here I will say print. No, this is small letter. I'll bring my format string again, and then I'll say amount transferred, right? I'll bring this total amount. We'll put underscore here. We'll put underscore here, right? I'll do this. Then I'll close this. So now, still inside, all these things are inside this method, right? All these things that I've written are under this method. Now I have created the class interbank transfer class. Now inside this interbank transfer class, I've created this method and I've also created this method, right? So inside this method are all these things. Now the class is fully created. I've created my central bank class and I've also created my interbank transfer class. Now I have to instantiate the object, but the object I'm going to create will be the object for this interbank transfer. Then I can now use that object to call this method, which will now perform all these activities for me. Right? That is what I want to show you. I don't want this video to be too long. So now I am going to stop here in this class, meaning I just created two classes. The first class was the central bank class, and then the second class is the interbank transfer class. And I've created method inside it. In the next video, I am going to create an object of this interbank transfer class, and then I'm going to call this method to carry out these processes for us. And then in the PyCharm, I'm going to demonstrate the entire flow. So don't miss the next class so that we'll conclude this class, right? So till we see in the next class, bye-bye.